Here, I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody while I'm thinking about it here. And so for those of you who haven't been here before, once I open it up for questions and comments, feel free to unmute yourself and then mute yourself back once we get to that stage. But anyway, now on Thursday, in the Channeling with Consensus was talking about the neutralizing of the energetic field, the palette of humanity, essentially, is the way that it phrased it. And so it started in the conversation about male energy, masculine energies and feminine energies, because we have referred to previously, part of this shift that's happening is a shift from masculine to feminine energies, from a dominating, controlling, conquering kind of energy to more of a nurturing, more collaborative kind of energy. And in the channeling on Thursday that we did with Consensus, they said that they were actually grounding the patterns, the masculine energy patterns, into more joy that was without any kind of force, without any kind of earning of it, just to soften that pattern. And as they were doing that, they were blending, they were neutralizing the field. It was really so deeply compassionate. It was really beautiful. And they spoke about that as we continue in this awakening, and specifically with the next wave coming of big global changes, that it will serve us well not to talk about things in terms of opposing sides, not to take an opposing stance of any kind. And part of that had to do with the labeling of energies or labeling of words in particular, that we tether to a history of meaning that has some connotation that we think of with that word. So masculine, we would think of in dominating or whatever. That label is associated with ideas of patterns or behavior, tendencies, roles, expectations, things like that. So they talked about just being mindful of the labels that we're using now, and coming in to relax those labels and mindful of neutralizing what's happening. Now, you know, in the last few weeks, we've been talking a lot and working a lot on sort of what we originally started to call building the reservoir of calm, of stillness, of resting in that state. That's why we brought in Corrine to help us get into a more deeper, restful state. So we've created this kind of steady energy or flow of calm and stillness throughout this upheaval. And then we started moving into, from there, being able to come into a sense of awe and wonder in bringing that into our mindful of what's going on kind of state. And so in that reservoir of calm, so in Corrine's channeling yesterday, she was talking about the center point of creation, the center point from which everything manifests, being the I am. When all is just stopped, the center point is the I am. And from there, everything is created. Now you will remember in my teachings, in the original moment of awakening to conscious awareness, the moment that we go from nothing to something, it starts with movement. And when that movement happens and I am engorged with the God source and I awaken to conscious awareness, I narrate that awakening moment with the words, I am goodness. And I want to be all that I am. And as those words were flowing through me, I felt those words as the creative force itself propelling me into being. So in the work with Corrine yesterday, I was brought back to that teaching of the original moment being created through the I am. And then what was put in front of that was what mobilized creation. So coming back into now the work that we've been doing to create our fields in a nice, calm, still state of awe and wonder of all that's happening in the world, then we can come into the idea of being mindful of what we create from within this nice, calm, neutralizing kind of field right now. So when we think about what word we put next after I am. That is the thing that is infused into the field for manifestation and radiation into the collective. So what a beautiful time to be mindful of that, to be specifically mindful of our practice and in our own life of what is it that I am saying out loud, that I am honoring, that I am fostering, that I am nurturing in this moment. So what I want to do tonight is I'm going to take us into just a nice, good, gentle meditation, focusing specifically on the I am, just in that beautiful center point field. Everything happens. We are part and parcel of everything that happens. In the channeling from Thursday, I said as we neutralize this field and we begin to take away the labels, we realize it's all just love. It's love reflecting love. It's love awakening to love. So when we come into this, I am all love. It is all entirely love. What is the word that we want to put in front of the I am to foster and be and experience more of the love that we are? So that's what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to take us into the meditation, and then there's going to come a time where I'm going to say, now within each of us, let us infuse into this field a word or a phrase that we want to be that thing which we want to see manifest or radiated out into the collective field. And let's just see what happens. With no expectations, I don't want you to be thinking of your word yet. We'll just go with what flows in the moment, okay? All right, let's do it. Okay, just get comfortable right where we are. Grounding ourselves here in this moment. Grounding ourselves in the intention of community. The intention of self-care. The intention of service to ourselves, to each other, to humanity, and to divine love. Just letting that intention anchor us here right where we are. Feeling ourselves sinking into this moment. Feeling our body relax. Feeling our mind quieting and relaxing. Becoming aware of the space in front of us. Aware of the space behind us. Aware of the space to the right. Aware of the space to the left. Aware of the space above. And the space below. We're going to take a nice deep breath in and just breathe into all of that space, uniting with every bit of it in our awareness. Take a nice deep breath in. Just relax into all of this space. Feeling the body lose its boundaries. Simply uniting in oneness with all that is here in this moment. Letting everything settle. Letting this moment, letting this space hold us. Hold all of us. And we're going to take another nice deep breath in, and when we breathe out, we're going to feel all the boundaries of space all around us disappearing as well. Take a nice deep breath in. And completely relax into the open field. Limitless and vast. Feeling ourselves sinking in. With every subtle breath we take, we just sink deeper. We feel our field wafting out and down and around. For as far as we can sense in any direction, we can feel ourselves in union with this limitlessness. No beginning, no end. Feel ourselves buoyant in this space. We can begin to feel ourselves being breathed. And everywhere throughout this field, there is calm. There is invitation. There is sweet, familiar welcome. We want to feel into the sense of being nurtured here. Of being nurtured in the way you can only be nurtured at home. The purity of that nourishment. There's a sense of feeling infused throughout the field. Of being included in every subtle nuance. Of being everything and between everything. Of being the I am. And now to recognize a creative power within this. You'll find a word related to our sense of gratitude to say in the I am for our own life or for humanity, that which we seek to manifest in the known or to radiate into the field. Whatever your own specific word is, you can say it out loud or silently. We'll take a nice deep breath in. And recite your word, I am. Feel the change in your field. And now let's identify the word specific to our own life, or that which we want to infuse into the field for humanity, related to the sense of awe that we experience or are aware of, whatever that might be. Take a nice deep breath in. And infuse into the field your word, I am. And now into this field, mindful of our creative power. We'll infuse into this field the word that is specific to our own life at this time, or that which we intend to infuse out into humanity, whatever that may be, simply that which we seek to create intentionally for ourselves or for others in this time. Take a nice deep breath in. And infuse, I am. Now let's feel the power, the creative power of specific words as we infuse these in together. We're going to begin with the word trust. So take a nice deep breath in and infuse the words I am trust. And now we'll infuse the word aligned. Take a nice deep breath in. I am aligned. And now we'll infuse the words I am divine will. Take a nice deep breath in. I am divine will. And finally, we'll infuse the words I am love, creating and reflecting love. Take a nice deep breath in. I am love, creating and reflecting love. We have been guided repeatedly recently to keep things simple, that there's no need for the introduction of complexity in our world at this time. We're being offered the opportunity to let the conditions of the world take care of us and not challenge us, to have a different perspective on all that's happening within our own lives and within humanity. So when we think about ourselves in the role of creator, in the simple way that we create, the simple way that we radiate our reality, we can think about the simplification of our life by the labels that we use, the words that we are infusing into our field to manifest. Being mindful of simply relabeling what our focus is. To that which feels an honoring of our highest good. That which is in our greatest benefit and the greatest benefit of all that we influence in all of humanity. That relabeling coming from a more centered point in the body, through the heart, through the gut. Relabeling what the mind would have us to believe from old conditioned patterns. Into transformative, creative power of new words, new labels, new intentions, and a new focus. These are times to remember that we don't have the power, we are the power. I am the power. This is a perfect time in our human evolution to really sink into this very simple yet profound lesson. Recognizing our power as creator through the I am word. It is what gives us the impulse of life and existence itself. I am goodness and I want to be all that I am. The only limitations on that are those that come from the mind. The limitlessness is in this transcendent field beyond the mind. In the I am energetic field, it's like the blank canvas upon which we create. It is that simple. Everything begins from within. As you feel comfortable, you can open your eyes. The last 2 days, I've had a couple of consultations with people that were struggling with fear and frustration and stresses. And in very simple conversation, just shifting a word in the I am statement was so profoundly healing in an instant. Just today, someone talking about fear because they're in financial difficulties there in England. And I asked what would happen if that word became curious instead of afraid. So the I am becomes I am curious as to how things will unfold, as opposed to I am afraid of how things will unfold. You can see in just that single word what happens in the idea of manifestation. There's a different relationship to the moment. There's a different relationship to what is, to what's possible. Everything shifts in that single moment. This is where, you know, in all of my years, all of the years of mystical experiences, I keep coming back to every single time I have an experience. I often say in the experience, but always afterwards, it's so simple. These things are so, so simple. And in these last few weeks with everything coming again and again and again, and then again, the reminders of simplicity, we come back into this kind of simplicity, just mindful of what is it that we're centered in? What is, you know, the mechanism of creation is our focus, our intention, and our reaction, right? So what is it that we're focused on? Am I focused on my fear? Am I focused on curiosity? What is my intention? How am I reacting? What is the I am that goes with it? It's so simple when we come into it with a very awake, mindful presence with the current moment, always with what is in this present moment. Where are we? What is it that I am radiating? So I very much enjoyed resting in this lesson for the last, since my time with Corinne yesterday and throughout this day. I actually, for the last several days, I've had a lot of, I virtually had very little sleep, maybe 3 hours sleep in the last 3 days, truly, because there's been so much cleansing going on. And a lot of it is specifically related to this clearing of old patterns, deep, deep, deep old patterns of ways of thinking, and that the ways of thinking or being in this world right now are just easily shifting because the field is very different. The field is very tilled up and lots of things are moving around. In one of my channelings recently that I haven't made, part of it that I haven't made comment, public, they said that you can imagine that with all of the energies in the field being tilled up right now, this is a perfect time for the greater divine presence, in this case consensus, to be planting seeds as things are tilled up so that the seeds can go much deeper into the field, which is such a beautiful thing. And it is what I think about in terms of this kind of practice, the I am practice. What is now, with all of this being tilled up, what is the seed that I'm planting for the manifestation? It's such a sweet and simple healing kind of practice and teaching. All right. Well, this has been lovely as always. I love you all. It's good to see you. May our time together be of benefit to all beings. Namaste, namaste. Bye.